Plaintiffs say that's not what happened here. Plaintiffs say the landlord turned the apartments into short-term rental units shortly after the evictions in 2014, advertising the units on the Airbnb website, then charging new renters up to 10 times the old rent. Airbnb is also a defendant in the case. Area Councilman Paul Koretz says such practices are growing and need to stop.
Yeah, this is a clear violation of everything that makes sense in the city of Los Angeles. We're facing a record level of homelessness, and yet we've taken thousands and thousands of units off the market through Airbnb.
Plaintiffs say turning the 4 apartments into a pseudo-hotel with a revolving door of tenants is ruining the neighborhood.
And now today, we haven't been here for about a year and a half, and today we've met a lot of our neighbors that we used to know. Everybody's hugging and kissing us and saying it's been hell for them to live next door to it.
28 people living in this unit as a hotel. And you don't know who these people are. There's a school across the street.
As of deadline time for this story, no reaction from Airbnb or the building owner. In the Fairfax district, Gil Reyes for LA This Week.
Plaintiffs are demanding the right to return. They also want their old rental fees, which average around $1,800 a month per unit. While many of LA's movers and shakers are working to make sure LA's future transit growth is good for Angelenos, Anna Marcos takes us to the LA Thrives Big Table, where some ideas of the future are born.
It's a sign of the changing times when a transit agency literally goes off the rails to focus not just on transportation, but on the community around its tracks. This LA Thrives Big Table Luncheon brings together Metro officials, business leaders, and local groups to talk about sustainability and how transit growth can benefit all Angelenos.
Who could not notice the fact that we're spending $40 billion here in LA County to double the size of our transit system and the impact that it will have on our neighborhoods?
Metro board leaders themselves have decided they can no longer focus only on trains and buses. That LA's changing environment forces them to get involved in housing, the community, and the environment.
There are few other public assets that can be more profoundly impactful and change and enhance a community, like the issue of transportation infrastructure.
Metro has already committed to making 35% of the housing on its property affordable housing, and it's making a $10 million investment to expand housing and to keep small businesses in communities. But the goal doesn't stop there.
We really want to say we spent $40 billion. We got healthier people because they're walking more. We got cleaner air. We got reduced greenhouse gas emissions. We got less congested freeways, people on the train, on the buses, a healthier community.
And it looks like this networking event is already off to a healthy start. I'm Anna Marcos for LA This Week.
For more information, visit lathrives.org. Well, for the 5th consecutive year, the city has been seeing record-breaking growth in LA tourism. Rasha Goel has more on the numbers and stats.
We see no letting up of bookings even in these last couple weeks.
Los Angeles Mayor Eric Garcetti just talked about record-breaking numbers in LA tourism. Now, according to him, there has been an increase of 1.3 million people visiting Los Angeles over 2014.
Last year, welcome to the City of Angels, a new record of 45.5 million visitors. Today, more people choose to work, live, study, and visit Los Angeles than ever in our history.
The growth in tourism has had a great impact on the economy and jobs.
In direct spend, those 45 million folks spent almost $19 billion in our hotels, our restaurants, taxi cabs, things like that.
In Los Angeles, we have nearly 500,000 jobs, 464,000 to be exact, that come from our leisure and hospitality industry, which includes tourism.
Part of the growth is contributed to a huge increase in tourism from China to Los Angeles. More than 779,000 Chinese tourists visited Los Angeles last year.
We are a destination not only for our natural beauty, mountains and beaches, our theme parks, our world-famous landmarks, but also for folks who want to do business with the 3rd largest metropolitan economy in the world.
Visitors from South Korea also spiked with an increase of 11% over the last year. With Los Angeles being a connecting hub to 67 cities and 34 countries, airport officials are successfully moving forward with the modernization program at LAX.
LA World Airports is spending over $8 billion to improve the guest experience by rebuilding and modernizing its terminals, making changes to the airport's dining retail offerings, and upgrading our technology in a very significant way.
It is our goal and our vision to ensure that the millions of travelers that use LAX have an airport experience that is purely world-class.
After all, we can't expect anything less in a world-class city. I'm Rasha Goel for LA This Week.
LAX is the 5th busiest airport in the world. While a new homelessness report addresses ways to get people off the streets, LA's lawsuit against SoCalGas garners more support, and LA's newest pro soccer team unveils its newest logo. All these stories and more in City Beat. The City of Los Angeles released a draft homelessness strategy report, which lays the foundation for a regional approach to addressing this chronic issue. The report represents a commitment shared by Mayor Eric Garcetti and the City Council to scale up best practices for getting people off the streets and into homes. The report calls for substantially expanding staffing, services, rental subsidies, and permanent housing for the city's homeless residents. Its recommendations will guide the mayor's and city council's short and long-term homelessness policy decisions. The report also identifies potential funding streams and begins to estimate initial costs that will help inform the mayor's proposed 2016-2017 budget. City Attorney Mike Feuer announced that the County of Los Angeles has joined his suit against the Southern California Gas Company over the ongoing public health emergency at their natural gas facility near Porter Ranch. Feuer said the move is an important development to end this disaster, get relief for residents, and ensure nothing like this happens again. The leak began in October, forcing thousands of residents to move because of health concerns. Mayor Eric Garcetti joined the Los Angeles Football Club, LA's newest pro soccer team, to officially unveil its logo and colors at LA's Union Station. The pitch black and California gold colors are meant to embody the success, urban texture, and glamour of Los Angeles. The LA monogram incorporates a wing intended to pay homage to the City of Angels with its power, mobility, and aspirational nature. The 4 blades represent the 4 club pillars and the city's founding date of September 4th, 1781. The Los Angeles Football Club will be an expansion franchise for Major League Soccer, beginning play in 2018. Before the new year, Councilmember Mitch O'Farrell hosted a city employee appreciation luncheon, serving everyone's favorite, Pink's hot dogs. The event was held at Fire Station 6 on Virgil Avenue. The goal was to bring the city family together and express gratitude for their hard work in the 13th District, from beautification projects to helping provide services for the homeless.
It's my way of giving thanks at the end of the year for all of the great work that city employees and nonprofit agencies have done in my district.
A new cafe and juice bar at Pacoima City Hall could provide the economic jolt the area needs. As Gil Reyes reports, art, tourism, and fresh produce are all part of the recipe.
Cafe O Muerte Coffee Shop and Fruta y Cultura Juice Bar. Both just opened, both expected to give Pacoima a much-needed energy boost.
We're doing it with local produce being grown by our neighbors.
This ribbon cutting, more than just a celebration of 2 new businesses opening up, but also what Councilman Felipe Fuentes calls social enterprise.
A customer who comes and enjoys a simple cup of coffee doesn't realize that the money spent on this is attacking a lot of policy challenges in our community.
Problems like unemployment, lack of healthy food options, and the absence of a true arts and cultural hub in Pacoima. But that may be changing. Over a cup of joe, Councilman Fuentes reveals that many of the young people behind the counter are from the Youth Policy Institute, working students earning money for college. Both businesses are also just steps away from a new open-air museum. It's expected to house a revolving door of art themes year-round. The hope is visiting art lovers with money to spend will also love juice and coffee.
We had the second annual Day of the Dead Festival in November that got a lot of attention.
The Juice Bar also buys its produce fresh from local growers Eldwin and Noemi Herrera.
And now we volunteer and we go help other families put on their own beds and grow their food, right?
I mean, it's mind-blowing, right? I mean, we grew up in the city and men taught us how to grow our own food, and now we're doing it, and now we're going to provide it for our community. It's exciting.
And make money.
We're exciting.
So come get a taste of the new Van Nuys Boulevard in Pacoima.
Celebrate the art, celebrate a great street, and a great cup of coffee.
How was the coffee, though?
Cacao latte. Delicious.
For LA This Week, I'm Gil Reyes.
Cyclists are invited to stop by when Ciclavia rolls through Pacoima in March. While families in North Hollywood are celebrating new improvements at a local park, and the kids can't seem to get enough. These youngsters are playing tag on the new playground just installed at the North Hollywood Recreation Center on Chandler Avenue in the San Fernando Valley. And they're having a blast.
I like the things that are called doors. You swing from door to door to door to door until you get to the top. I just made that name up.
City officials and community members gathered recently for the official ribbon cutting. The new playground will serve more than 1,500 local children ages 2 to 12 and countless visitors.
I like having fun here.
The nature-inspired design offers plenty of space to play for many kids at once, while the 6 sail canopies provide shade.
Oh, this is nice. This is very good for the kids. I have 2 girls. They're both, we love going here.
There's also new rubberized safety surfacing, which replaces a sand pit area, allowing access to children and parents of all abilities and reducing maintenance costs. And for Councilmember Paul Krikorian, it's these kinds of accomplishments he loves the most.
You see these kids who are building memories right now, and they're building physical strength and health, they're building character.
Paul Krikorian said that 15,000 people live near the park, and at least 10% are young kids who will now be using this playground. Future plans include additional lighting and summer youth and arts programs. Get your fill of vintage rock with the classic sounds of the band Dawes. Enjoy the LA River as it comes alive at night, and a unique mystery dinner show will keep you guessing all evening long. That's all in this week's Things to Do.
Standing still.
LA's own folk rock band Dawes hits the stage for a one-night performance. Dawes was formed from the band Simon Dawes after the departure of co-songwriter Blake Mills, subsequently abandoning a post-punk sound in favor of folk rock. Dawes has been described as having a Laurel Canyon sound derived from artists such as Crosby, Stills and Nash, Joni Mitchell, and Neil Young. The band recorded their debut album North Hills in Laurel Canyon in a live setting to analog tape, resulting in a sound that Rolling Stone magazine called authentically vintage. You can hear that sound live and in person on Saturday, January 23rd at the Theater Ace Hotel, located at 929 South Broadway at 8 p.m. For more, visit dawestheband.com. Enjoy the LA River under the stars with the LA River Night Run, a mini festival-style event that features open fields along the LA River and includes a 5K fun run, games, live music, giveaways, a vegan taco bar, a fire pit with s'mores, and free beer. The LA River Night Run series is meant to highlight the beautiful nature and public project advancements of the river at night within an activity-filled, family-friendly atmosphere. Headlamps and warm clothes are highly suggested. Throw on your running shoes on Sunday, January 24th, and head to 2800 Casitas Avenue at 7 p.m. for all the fun. The Dinner Detective is the largest interactive comedic murder mystery dinner show in the U.S. The popular shows are set in the present day. Performers are dressed just like everyone else, leaving all of the guests to suspect who is a part of the show and who's not. In many instances, guests are seated with the performers and don't even realize it until they die. The performers, that is. Each ticket includes a 4-course meal, interactive show, prizes, and more. Find out who done it on Saturday, January 23rd at 6 p.m. at Vitello's Restaurant, located at 4349 Tujunga Avenue in Studio City. For more, visit thedinnerdetective.com. And that's a look at some things to do. Well, that's going to do it for this edition. I'm Yana Kay. And from all of us here at LA This Week, thanks for joining us. A reminder that you can catch us online at lacityview.org. You can also follow and like us on Facebook. We'll see you back here next week for more of LA This Week.
Illegal dumping? Call 311, the toll-free number for non-emergency services. 311, your one call to City Hall.
What if a disaster strikes without warning? What if life as you know it has completely turned on its head? What if everything familiar becomes anything but? Before a disaster turns your family's world upside down, it's up to you to be ready. Get a kit, make a plan, be informed today.
Hi, I'm Kevin from Chatsworth, offering you a taste of New Orleans since 1986. You're watching LA City View, Channel 35. Our city,
Good morning, good morning, good morning. If everyone could please take your seats. Today is Wednesday, January 20th. Welcome to your City Hall. This council meets every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday at 10 a.m. The public is welcome. Mr. Clerk, I do believe we have a quorum. Could you call the roll?
Blumenfield, Bonham, Buscaino, Sodillo, Engler, Fuentes, Harris, Dawson, Weezer, Carrasco, Crane, Martinez, O'Farrell, Price, Rue, Wesson, 11 members present, and a quorum, Mr. President.
Thank you. First order of business.
Approval of the minutes.
Bonin moves, Buscaino seconds. Next.
Commendatory resolutions for approval.
Price moves, Harris, Dawson seconds. Next.
Mr. President, the Department of Building and Safety recommends that items 1G, I, J, N, O, P, Q, and R be received and filed inasmuch as the liens have been paid in full, and that items 1A, D, and T be continued to February 3rd.
Okay, so without objection, that'll be the order. So now let's actually go through the items, 1 through 15, items 1 through 15.
Very good, sir. There, items 1 through 15 are items noticed for a public hearing.
Cards?
Yes, sir. Cards on 1 and 15.
Okay, let's hold those and prepare to vote. Mr. Weezer?
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm just standing up to make sure we haven't passed 18, have we?
No.
No, okay, sorry about that.
No, it's okay. It happens. All right. Let's prepare to vote on the remaining items. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Continue.
Mr. President, items 16 through 32 are items for which public hearings have been held. Committee reports for items 18 and 30 have been submitted and circulated for Council's consideration. Further, there are requests to send items 16 and 18 forthwith.
Okay, Mr. Weezer, what did you want to do with 18?
Special, please.
Okay, we'll hold item 18. Mr. Koretz.
Item 30 special.
30 for Mr. Koretz. Cards. Oh, no, we don't have to take cards on this one.
Correct.
Members, any other specials? Okay, let us prepare to vote on the remaining items. Let us open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Okay, continue.
And, Mr. President, items 16 and 17, those with ordinances, will be held over for a second read unless reconsidered later.
And then which one was supposed to go forthwith?
That was 16.
Okay. All right. We are where?
Mr. President, that brings us to items 32 through 45. They're items for which public hearings have not been held. 10 votes are required for consideration.
Okay, so without objection, those items are now before this body. Do we have cards on these items?
Yes, sir, we do. We have cards on 33, 36, 38, 39, and 42, and 43.
Let's hold those items and let's prepare to vote on the remaining items. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Continue. Mr. President, that brings us to items 46 through 48. They're items scheduled for closed session. Would you like to hold them on the desk?
You know, we don't have Mr. Krikorian, but I believe, Mr. City Attorney, that we can move forward with these items in open session.
Correct.
So, Mr. Clerk, would you like to read the items?
Very good, sir. For item 46, in the case entitled Lusik Sadoyan et al. Versus City of Los Angeles, there's a recommendation to expend $165,000. For item 47, in the case entitled Gabriela Fabian et al. Versus City of Los Angeles et al., there is a recommendation to expend $750,000 in settlement. And for item 48, in the case entitled Jerry Hinkston versus City of Los Angeles et al., there is a recommendation to expend $250,000 in settlement.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Let's prepare to vote on these items. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
That brings us where?
Mr. President, at this time, we are at 12 members. Would you like to reconsider items 16 and 17?
Definitely.
Very good,
So
sir.
we'll vote on reconsideration now for those two items. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Okay, now we will actually vote on the items. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
All right.
And again, pardon me, sir, there's a request to send 16 forthwith.
Okay, without objection. So that brings us where, Mr. Clerk?
That takes council back to presentations, items called special, or general public comment.
Okay, thank you. Why don't I defer to Mr. Weezar at this time? So, Mr. Weezar, the floor is yours.
Should we ask the planning department to come on up here? Sure. Why don't the planning department come on up here?
What's your good side? What side do you want to know?
This is my good side.
So you on that side?
Thank you, Mr. President, and colleagues and public. I am saddened today to introduce a resolution from all of the council acknowledging the departure of Michael LeGrand as the Director of Planning from our beloved city. As you all know, one of the most important things we can do as a city is to make sure that we keep our streets safe and clean, but also that we have sound planning principles in place to plan for not only the present but the future as well. And Michael is someone who I regard as a friend, but more importantly, he's someone we've all come to consider as being one of the most valued members of the city family. After nearly 16 years of dedicated service to the city of Los Angeles and the Department of City Planning, his departure will undoubtedly be a loss for the city. But if I know anything about Michael, I'm sure he'll be fine wherever he goes after this position. Michael LeGrand started with the planning department nearly 16 years ago, where he quickly ascended through the ranks to become the youngest person in the city's history to become the director. Along the way, he pioneered the creation of the now irreplaceable expedited processing section in 2003 and served in a critical role as the chief zoning administrator from 2006 to 2010. In August of 2010, Michael LeGrand was appointed as the director of planning during a time when the city was trying to come to grips with the most devastating economic recession of our time. As a director, he hit the ground running as he ushered in a visionary plan titled Doing More with Less, which helped avoid numerous staff layoffs while still maintaining the delivery of services from the department. In the years to follow, the planning department would undertake the most ambitious and comprehensive zoning code revision in the history of the city in the Recode LA program. He helped secure approximately $6 million in Metro funding for developing a series of TOD plans, that's transit-oriented development plans around the city's new rail stations. He oversaw updates to the city's general plan, including the new housing element, the mobility element, which we are voting on today if we haven't already, and the development of the city's first ever health and wellness plan. And he also helped direct the department in establishing numerous other local planning overlays and districts so vital in protecting the quality of life standards for our communities. During his tenure, the planning department would come to receive over 20 American Planning Association awards to firmly establish the growth of Los Angeles as a world-class urban landscape. And so, members of the City Council, it is my pleasure to present this resolution to give Michael a huge thank you for his firm commitment to the City of LA, a job well done, and certainly someone who stepped in to serve as the planning director for the city at a time when it needed some strong leadership. And his staff from the planning department is here to show how much they work together as a team to certainly keep the ball rolling in this city with respect to planning. So, Michael, job well done. Thank you so much for your service. We appreciate all you've done and know that the landscape in the city of Los Angeles will forever have a positive impact because of your work. Congratulations and thank you so much.
Let's give him a round of applause.
Planners are never shy. That's right. It's just that we're short, that's all.
Okay, Mr. Weezer, before Mr. LeGrand begins, I have a couple of members that are on the queue that would like to say a few words. We will begin with Mr. Joe Buscaino.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mike, sad to see you go. You were the first person I've met the day after my election night, and in the parking lot when you said your name was Mike LeGrand. I go, my mom's last name is LeGrand, LeGrandie. And I said, I'm sure we're related somewhere down the line. So Cousin Mike, thank you so much for your service. An amazing 4 years together since I've been in office. You and your team been open and honest with finding ways to redevelop our waterfront from San Pedro all the way up to Watts. And your dedication of service is exemplary, and we're going to miss your spirit and your love for public service. So I really appreciate we appreciate your work that you put forth in the years here at the City of Los Angeles. I know you're going to do bigger and better things moving forward, but really blessed to be a part of your team and finding ways to bring prosperity to the city. I mean, and Jose, you're absolutely right. What Mike did, especially in the downtown Los Angeles area, has definitely gone unnoticed. And you definitely have left your mark in the city of Los Angeles. God bless you. Thank you for your service, and good luck to you.
All right. And Michael, I'll say to you and your team, we want to thank you for all the work that you've done, and we wish you success in the future. With that said, Mr. Cedillo.
Michael, thank you. Thank you on behalf of my staff, and thank you personally because, like Joe, I think you're the first director that I met, and you made the transition seem easy, and you've taught me so much about planning, its importance, but you also taught me so much about leadership, your flexibility, your insight, your preparation, and I was glad to see that it was acknowledged during your tenure in winning all those awards that you received. Nothing's more important, more valuable than winning acclamation from your colleagues, and so it was much deserved. I really thank you for your leadership and your friendship during the time that we've been working together. And let me repeat, on behalf of my staff, thank you, because they praise the collaboration that we have with you and your department. It comes from the top, and we know it. And so we want to thank you on behalf of my staff. And like downtown, you put an imprint on my district, and the first district is just beginning to blossom, and it's much as a result of your leadership and guidance. So thank you so much.
All right. Mr. Bonin.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mike, I just wanted to thank you as well, echoing what Mr. Buscaino and Mr. Cedillo had said. I want to thank you for a couple things in particular. I want to thank you for trying to run a department that was chronically underfunded and understaffed. You have a remarkable staff standing with and behind you right now, and over the years, particularly since the Great Recession, they have been asked to do a hell of a lot more with a hell of a lot less, and that's been a very tough job. And I just wanted to acknowledge that you were helming the department at that time, and that your staff has had to work doubly hard for that, and I want to thank you for that. I am a little surprised at the lengths that you're apparently willing to go to avoid participating in the Venice Local Coastal Plan process. Leaving the entire city seems a bit extreme, but we'll try to get it done without you. I just want to wish you well. Thanks for everything, and be well.
All right. Mr. LeGrand, the floor is yours. Let's give Michael another round of applause.
Thank you, council members. It's with great pleasure I'm before you today. I've had so many friends here, and the job you do, I can't tell you how proud I am to be a part of it. All the things you heard that we've accomplished would never have happened without the people behind me and the staff that's up at their desk working right now. I've been fortunate to work with some of the brightest planners in the nation and be able to be their leader for almost 18 years of my career. One of the things that really excites me is the policy debates we have at this council, the way the council president allows you to ask us questions, challenge us, things like the mobility plan, the community plan program, the housing element, the amount of conversations we have about that and how serious you take your jobs and the passion you have for your districts and making sure all those districts' voices are heard and really challenging us to do the best job to move Los Angeles forward is really enlightening. It's sad that I'm leaving. I feel like my work isn't quite done, but I think in the city of Los Angeles it'll never completely be done. I'm very excited to move on to the next chapter of my life. Just as a preview, this is probably the only time I won't have a 2-minute reminder on me for the rest of my career, so I'll still be brief, though. And I want to thank you all for the friendship. I'd like to thank the mayor for the opportunity he's given me, and thank the prior administration for appointing me, as well as for the council for their help during the budget process. We've grown the staff of the department from 207 up to over 400 in this coming budget year. So the one thing I leave you with is continue to believe in planning, continue to fund planning. Planning doesn't happen in a vacuum, and the outreach to your constituents does require us to use planners, and we hope that you'll keep funding us like you have in the past. And your dedication to the city and the hard work you do is really appreciated by all of us and the people behind me. So thank you very much, and I look forward to seeing you in my next chapter.
All right, Michael LeGrand, everyone.
Thank you again, Mr. LeGrand. And we all know that something that did happen under your tenure is that we weren't just processing cases through the planning department with respect to new projects and rehabilitating old ones, but you did a lot of policy planning, which is something that the city needs to do as we think about the future. But you and your staff are some of the most hardest working staff in the city of LA, oftentimes go unrecognized for the amount of hours and time spent on not only processing cases but also doing the policy planning that's needed for the city. Our general plan, as you know, is our constitution for the city that describes what type of city we would like to have. And for you and your team to update some of those elements that haven't been updated in such a long time speaks volumes about you and your hardworking staff. So congratulations to you. You are part of the city family, and we will always know that we have not lost someone, but someone has just gone on to conquer new adventures. Congratulations, Michael.
Thank you.
Thank you. Congratulations, Michael. Okay, Sean Murphy, where are you, Sean? We're going to jump to item 39. If you'd come down.
Yeah, I'm getting this. Yeah, okay. Thanks.
Okay, Sean, go ahead.
Yes, item 39. I am supporting this.
Thank you. On 39, let us open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Let's go to 36. Mr. Previn, are you here? Mr. Previn, Eric Previn. Item 36. Mr. Previn, welcome.
Good morning, Council President Weston. That was a deeply moving presentation to Mr. LeGrand of the Planning Group. Thank you so much. And thank you, Mr. Huizar, for bringing such clarity to that one. This is a Huizar-Martinez motion, and two words must be brought forward, which is thank you, because the city, as we all know, is in a bit of a tailspin, though we are getting ready for the Olympics. But sir, this is going to make a big difference, because this is, if I'm not mistaken, $20,000 in District 14 apportionment from the Street Furniture Revenue Fund, and what we're going to go for here is the maintenance of planters and related beautification efforts on Broadway and downtown. Now that is going to send to our Great Street program and to the people of LA the correct message, that we are ready to show some nice planters and some cleaned up streets to anybody who wants to visit Los Angeles, including, by the way, sir, the 45 million, I think it was up to 45 million, someone will correct me, but a lot of tourists are coming now, and they're liking what they're seeing, and in particular, they're appreciating the planter work we're doing. I know that in my community, in CD2, today on the agenda, Krikorian is out preparing for his next meeting. We have some great planters coming forward, and we also have not just great planters, but we have a $25,000 charge for the...
Stay on it, Eric. I'm telling you back.
Are you bringing me back? Okay, thank you, sir. I appreciate that. That's for congestion reduction, calming congestion issues in CD2. So we will be looking forward to that. We have been building upward, thanks to Mr. LeGrand, Mr. Weezar, and the guys up in Plum who rubber stamp things very quickly, and then there's no need to speak to this whole council because the other 10 members who are here are busy, sir. They're not interested in the little abnegations and violations of the various code that some of the skillful guys who work in the planning team, and not just on the team, but at the lobbyist level helping out, have been working nicely to obfuscate and make almost impossible to check some of the activity. So, sir, with that, I look forward to these planters. I hope that they're the kind that give a kind of a feeling of warmth. Thank you,
Thank you, Mr. Previn. Members, let's prepare to vote on that item. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Okay, now what I'm going to do today, I think I'm going to take up some general public comment cards now. We'll take up some of them, and then towards the end, we'll take up more. So at this time, I would like to call Loretta Stevens. Please come forward. Brother Wright.
Thank you. Thank you. Good morning, City Council. I want to open it up. I'm with the Los Angeles Black Workers Center and the LA Coalition Against Wage Theft. We just came from a march and rally to stop employment discrimination and to stand for racial equity and economic justice. Everybody that participated is standing, and a lot of people had to leave, but wage theft and discrimination is a crime. We gave you a packet of information. The first is a letter from coalition partners throughout LA, a diverse list calling for enforcement of anti-discrimination laws and civil rights protection for equal employment opportunity, which are critical to addressing the black job crisis. Equity means fairness. It means justice. The other thing we gave you is a sheet on the challenges black workers have: access, retention, name bias, and gender biases. And we've talked to you guys a lot about this issue before, but the problem is
Finish your last sentence.
Discrimination complaint resolution process, Human Relations Commission, Racial Equity Initiative.
Thank you.
No justice.
Thank you. Mr. Wright. Regina Freer. Sophia Chin.
Good morning.
Good to see you.
Good morning. My name is Samboya Wright. I am an executive board member of SEIU Local 721. I'm also the chair of Local 721's African American Caucus, and I'm a city employee. There's 50% unemployment and underemployment in our communities, especially in Council District 8, 9, 10, and 15. We elected you guys to represent all of their constituents, and we're asking you to basically step up and listen to the Los Angeles Black Workers Center and the coalition, all the community groups, and set the standard. Set the standard here, right here. You guys have the authority to set the standard. Set the standard here and set it so we can move it on over throughout Los Angeles County. Thank you.
Thank you. So, please come forward. I'm looking for Regina Freer, Marco Ruiz, and go ahead.
Hi, good morning. My name is Sophia Cheng with the Restaurant Opportunity Center, or ROC LA. Discrimination and harassment are a fact of the service sector. Restaurants make up a disproportionate number of EEOC claims for discrimination and harassment. Just one story, one example. ROC provides fine dining and bartending classes for our members. After one class, I saw 3 members with, quote, the right look and little experience get jobs immediately, while another member, an immigrant from Ethiopia with 8 years of experience as a busser and server in a high-volume West LA restaurant, struggled for 8 months to find employment because of his race and accent. Employers need proactive support and training as well. Many managers see harassment, especially sexual harassment, between guests and employees or between coworkers, and they don't have a consistent policy to deal with it. LA led the region on 15 and enforcement. We should do the same with discrimination. Thank you.
Thank you. So is it Mr. Ruiz? And then if I could get Trina Trailer. Yes, sir.
Hola, soy Marco Antonio Ruiz Madrigal.
My name is Marco Antonio Ruiz.
Soy un trabajador de car wash de Anaheim.
I'm a worker, a car wash worker, and I work in Anaheim.
Vengo a apoyar a los trabajadores afroamericanos.
I'm here supporting African American workers.
Que no haya discriminación.
So that there's no discrimination.
That's right.
Yes.
Yes.
So, gracias.
Gracias.
Thank you.
No, thank you. Yes.
Good morning, council members. My name is Regina Freer. I'm a professor at Occidental College. I teach race and equity issues, and I'm also a member of the Black Worker Center Coordinating Committee. And we marched up Broadway to get here today, and along the way, as is obvious to anybody who drives up Broadway, construction is booming. We literally saw one African-American construction worker when we walked. Discrimination is real, and you have the power to do something about it, and that's what we're here asking you to do today. It is not The absence of black workers is not because the community doesn't want to work, and it's not because the community isn't ready to work. Both are the case here. The job crisis is real. We ask that you please work with to enforce anti-discrimination laws that are already on the books, but in order to do so, resources have to be allocated. The Bureau of Contracts Administration, through the Human Relations Commission, must have the authority and the resources to work with our state and federal partners to enforce our state and federal laws. We need your leadership. We need you to authorize the authority, and we need you to enforce it with resources.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, if I can get Trina Trailer, I think it is, and Kathy Deppie, and Jante Pruitt. Yes, identify yourself.
Good morning. My name is Trina Trailer, and I've been a member of the Black Workers Center for 2 years. As a youth, I made mistakes that adversely affected my record. As a black woman and as a black person, I know what discrimination feels like. Los Angeles must make anti-discrimination protection a priority so that black workers can get fair access to construction, entertainment jobs in our city. Our community is suffering because there's a black job crisis. Black workers do not want a handout. So many workers have skills and want to quality work like me. I earned a bachelor's degree from UCLA last year, and I make $9.65 an hour as an IHSS worker. My daughter at 18 got a job, acquired a job for Prime Healthcare. She worked there for 6 years so I can acquire my degree, and she was discriminated against and pushed out of her job. She has been unemployed for 2 years. I have been underemployed for 30 years.
Thank you. Thank you so much. No, thank you. So, next speaker, please come forward and identify yourself.
My name is Kathy Deppie. I'm with 9 to 5, National Association of Working Women. We're all about rights, raises, and respect, the 3 R's. And we've come here today. We want to thank the council for raising the wage. We want to thank you for strengthening enforcement of the labor laws. We do have a right to be paid when we work, after all. But today, working women and their families still find it hard to find a job in the first place and to keep it, and to get that job, and then to keep it. Equal opportunity is the law, but what good is the law if it's not enforced? So it's your responsibility to make sure that you strengthen the enforcement of the laws against discrimination. So I want to say on behalf of all Angelenos, and especially women who make up half of the workforce, we ask that this council work to stop employment discrimination, to enforce our civil rights, and to open the doors to equal opportunity for all. Discrimination is a crime. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Well said. So if I could get Jante Pruitt, Reverend Oliver, and Shirley Watson. Yes, ma'am. Please identify yourself.
Good morning. My name is Jante Pruitt. I'm an organizer at Scope.
We've been organizing low-income communities of color in South LA for over 20 years and waging campaigns for economic development and opportunities that are pathways out of poverty for our families. As we seek to create job training programs and that lead to career opportunities, we need to ensure that our communities have a real chance at being hired. Close to 50% of Black working age adults in LA County are unemployed or underemployed. It's not that our community members are not able to do the work that keep LA a world-class city, but rather we need the opportunities, and we're faced with the reality that we do not have a fair chance at these jobs. We need to stop the unacceptable discriminatory practices that keep our families in poverty and that make our families and communities unhealthy. We need a local system that ensures protection of our civil rights for workers. We ask the LA City Council to take action to support our efforts to ensure that low-income communities of color have a fair opportunity of being hired.
Thank you.
And we want to make sure that there is a discrimination complaint resolution center.
Thank you. Thank you. Reverend, please come forward.
Good morning,
Yes,
Mr.
sir.
President and City Council members. I'm Reverend Oliver E. Bowie from Holman United Methodist Church, and I'm standing with the Black Worker Center and to address this job crisis that exists within the African American community. Also would like to bring to the Council's attention of Seattle and Portland, who have already initiated a social justice and racial equity initiative. Equity initiative to ensure that people are treated equal. And I believe personally, let me say this, I'm happy with much of the work that you have done. I want to compliment you for that, but I want to say that we need to do more. And as we look to move forward, and as we say that Los Angeles is a first-class city, we want to lead the way. And I believe that you have the power, the authority, and the vision to lead the way in this issue. And I look forward to the changes that are needed.
Thank you, Reverend Bowie. Okay, Ms. Watson, Shirley Watson. Ms. Shirley Watson. Yes, ma'am.
Good morning, Mr. President and Council. My name is Shirley Watson, and I am 60 years young. I am a recent widow and a daughter, 22 years old, and a member of the Los Angeles Black Workers Center. I am currently an unemployed part-time IHSS provider. I was gainfully employed with a major aerospace company from 1984 to 2007. At that time, new management came in, and when I went for help, they told me it would take 9 months to get around to my case, so I lost my job. I returned to school and earned a master's degree in 2011, thinking that that would change. Nothing. There is a human price to pay when the laws are ignored. If institutions were working, we wouldn't have a black job crisis. I don't want my daughter to have the same struggles as she's in Northridge College right now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, now we just did some of our general public comment. We're now going to switch back to some actual items that are on the agenda. We want to move to item 33, and that is Mr. Murphy. Are you still here? If you'd come forward, Sean, followed by Mr. John Walsh. Thank you all for coming down this morning. Thank you all so very much.
Yes, another item I am supporting.
Thank you, Mr. Murphy. Mr. Walsh? There, Al.
Fast enough? John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org, or J. Walsh Confidential, tweeting at Hollywood Dems. Here we are on item 33. My favorite item, this is the REAP, Rent Escrow Account Program. It's kind of unique in L.A. These are a list of landlords who are no longer getting their rent from their tenants because they did not repair the out-of-code violations in the apartment after it was reported to the city. So what happens here is that once they start losing the rent, the landlords are very, very quick to remove these properties by actually repairing the apartments. HollywoodHighlands.org.
Okay, thank you. Let's prepare to vote on this item. Let us, Madam Clerk, please open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
Okay, item 43, Mr. Dude. Item 43, Mr. Dude.
I was more ready to talk on item 33, actually.
No, you're on item 43, so come forward.
I understand that now, but you kind of hit and switch on me. 43. Gee, I don't even know if I give a...
Okay. Are you prepared to speak on this item, Mr. Dude?
I'm prepared to speak on anything, actually, but...
No, you're off the subject.
I gotta know what the hell I'm talking about.
No, you're
just
the one
like
that
you.
signed up to speak on this, so it would be nice if you knew what you were talking about when you signed up to speak. Mr. Previn, on item 43 as well. Mr. Previn, I saw you. Yeah, there you are. Mr. Previn, item 43. You're disrupting the meeting. Please stop it. Come forward, Mr. Previn.
Sir, thank you, sir. It's Eric Previn from CD2. And to be fair to Mr. Akala, it is confusing after a big presentation.
You just speak on your issue.
He's not a spry young guy like me.
No. Speak
it takes
to
a minute
40.
to get on page. I'm okay. I'm okay with you, sir.
Speak to 43, Mr.
Okay, I'm not
Previn.
okay with you. You make people small. It's not appropriate. Now, I'll get on 43 right now, which is Martinez Buscaino. Thank you once again, because these guys... Hold on, guys. Keep it down. You're disrupting the meeting.
Go on, Mr. Previn.
These guys are... sir... These guys are finally, and along with Martinez at another item on this agenda, are finally putting up the gates we need to solve our homeless problem. And I want to lay out some of the appreciation there, because the only way to prevent these little corridors that exist from being, at night, infiltrated by people who are seeking a place to be either, hang out, do drugs, bad things, good things, it's unclear. We have to gate them up. And that's what we did one in Silver Lake. We're doing them all over the place wherever we can, but it's not a real solution, sir. What we have to do is stem the tide of people who are out late at night doing bad stuff. So that is on point, as the city attorney will confirm.
No, just
because these
stay
gates
on 43.
These gates, well, sir, you could check with him again, because these gates
He just told me, so just stay on 43.
All right, but they're documented, sir. This is not light stuff. These are about, I think it's 20 grand for this one. Well, hang on. No, it's 18,852. So we got a little discount on this one. But look, sir, I appreciate what you're trying to do by having a big civil rights demonstration in the middle of the meeting, and I am supportive of those people. I just don't understand why we couldn't see their faces. And I would like to.
Okay, you're off.
So
Thank
please
you.
take that.
Thank you very much. Let's prepare to vote on this item. Let's open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
Okay. Now let's do item 38. Mr. Dude on item 38.
Am I highly motivated to talk
Item,
about this?
just come on up on item 38.
Well, I was ready to tell you that Black Lives Matter.
Okay, you're off the subject again. Thank you. If I could have Mr. Walsh. John Walsh.
That's crimination.
Number 38, John Walsh blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org or J. Walsh Confidential tweeting at Hollywood Dems. Number 38, these are tree removal services. This one is on Las Palmas, not too far from where I live. You know, we spend enormous amount of money on tree removal when we could spend a much smaller amount on tree restoration. Take a look at this is Hollywood adjacent. Take a look at how terrible the trees look I remember when we really had great trees. 1966, when I first came here and set foot, we had excellent trees in L.A. But now the trees are falling apart, and there's always money to remove them. There's no money to plant them. HollywoodHighlands.org.
Great, thank you very much. All right, having no other cards on this item, seeing no speakers on the queue, we'll go ahead and open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
Great, thank you very much. Next item, please. Forthwith per Councilmember Rue without objection, and that'll be the order. Thank you very much, Councilman. We'll go ahead and take the next item, please.
Mr. President, that brings us to item 35, called Special for Cards.
John?
Lands.org. This number 35 concerns technical amendments. I get worried when I hear the term technical amendments. You're sneaking something in. And this is very important. This is tenant relocation assistance program. So, I mean, the plan is to tear down all the affordable housing in Hollywood, and then we're going to get tenant relocation. Well, and the developer is going to help. The developer champion told us they want to relocate us. Well, you'll just have to move to another neighborhood. You know, he actually said to me, why don't you move into a neighborhood where there are a lot of minorities? The rents are lower there. Can you believe that a developer? It's true. But in fact, I told him, I'm Jewish. I deserve a white neighborhood. HollywoodHighlands.org.
Patricia McAllister.
I don't understand how you can allocate this money for relocation. It says here, consideration of motion by Cedilio and Harris. This black guy right over here who does nothing for black people. You want to request the city attorney to make amendments relative to a payment of relocation assistance to designate the housing department to be responsible for administering all aspects of the city's tenant relocation. How can you have money for relocation when you're throwing people out on the street? Where's this money going? It's going in your pockets. I know the game. You're not relocating nobody. We want a list of the people you relocated. That money is going in pockets. People go down there to get relocation money and they're told they don't qualify. They're told that there's no more money in the fund. When the mayor said he spent $100 million on the homeless, what a lie could that be when he didn't even spend $77 million that HUD gave him? Where is the money? We're going to send some of you Negroes to prison. And I want some black activists to come down here and speak to these three Negroes, Price, Wesson, and Dawson. We need to tell you how you're supposed to represent black people. You're going to need some black militants to tell you how to do that. You Negroes come to the parade smiling and everything.
Please state you are not on subject. You're not on subject. Thank you very much. All right. With that, having no other cards, Wayne, John, if you guys are going to applaud and disrupt the meeting and hoot and holler, then we're going to ask you to leave the meeting. So, please, rules of decorum still apply. Thank you. Wayne, I don't have a card for you, nor did I call you up. Please have a seat. Thank you very much. You're disrupting this meeting. Thank you for your random thoughts. Appreciate that once again. All right, with that, we'll go ahead and we have no other cards on this item. We'll go ahead and open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
Okay, we're going to go ahead and take item 30 next. And Councilmember Kretz, did you wish to open it up? You have a request.
I just had a question for the department about what the status is of the amendments that were made dealing with the issues in the various districts that are yet unresolved.
Okay, is there anybody from the departments here that can come up to the table?
And also, if you could clarify what the process will be on those issues going forward.
Thank you, Councilman Ken Bernstein with the Department of City Planning, along with Claire Bowen. Just to answer your question, the department has begun conducting the analysis as requested by your office and other City Council motions, and conducting review of those proposals. And we are on schedule to bring those back through the process, City Planning Commission and City Council, based on the schedule we outlined to you back in November.
And so what will the process be in terms of which committees it goes to? And
the committee process, of course, is really up to the council. The item before you today went to Plum Committee. Other actions have been heard jointly by Plum Committee and Transportation Committee.
Okay, thank you. And just for the record, until the amendments happen, I intend to vote against the mobility plan in total, as I've been doing. So.
Okay. With that, we'll go ahead and Councilmember Rue. And we'll go ahead and ask the department, as soon as they sit down and they're comfortable, to come back on up to answer some
Give them a
more
little
questions.
exercise.
Absolutely. It's a mobility plan.
I first want to thank you for all the changes you've made and all the efforts you've been working with my office on. Just wanted to follow up, though, on Councilman Koretz's question. So the proposed amendments will be coming up at the CPC?
That is correct.
Okay. Because I remember at the last meeting, I wanted to include it as an amendment in the motion, but then we were advised by both the department and city attorney's office that you'll take it up in planning, in the CPC. But then, and we again got assurances that it will be taken up and the languages will be changed to address neighborhood concerns. But we've been getting mixed messages. First we're told it's going to happen, then it's not going to happen, then it's going to happen. So is there any kind of assurance that we could get that it will be, the amendments will go through and it will be included?
Councilman, the Claire Bowen City Planning Department, yes, we've been working very closely with your office to ensure them that the language that it will be inserted in the plan that recognizes the intent of the motion that you introduced in November.
Mm-hmm. So the language that we compromised on with my office and your department will be included?
That is correct.
Okay. So, and I have some reservations, like Councilman Koretz. I have the utmost faith that it will happen, but I have concerns, and I would like to. I'm hesitant to vote on it now. Without the inclusion. So just wanted to state that for the record. Thank you.
No, I appreciate that. I guess just with the exception, though, of that that particular question and Councilman Carez's concern, that many of the other text amendments that were introduced by many of the members of the commission here or the council here in August are all included in the document that's in front of you today.
And again, Ken Bernstein, just to clarify, those include the amendments that were of great concern to you, Councilman, related to council oversight, public safety, and equity that you would introduce, Councilman Englander, Councilman Harris-Dawson. Those are all in the amendments with the readoption that is before you today.
Right, and along with Councilman Cedillo's amendments as well, which I very much appreciate. But the specific streets, it seems like some were included, but some weren't. And we even conceded with not necessarily removing the streets, particular streets that are in concern and that are in contention by many of the residents and communities, but to reiterate that there will be community input. There will be a whole reevaluation process within the community, and I feel a little uneasy. You're telling me it's going to be included, but it hasn't been included yet, and I'm just concerned about that because there's specific details that needs to be addressed.
Claire Bowen, there's language in the plan today that's always been there, and then we're putting additional information in that, again, reinforces the role of the networks as conceptual components, and that community engagement and additional design development, environmental review is an important part of the steps going forward. So without calling out specific streets, there is that broader kind of global language that does speak to that in the plan you're voting on today.
Thank you. We'll be working more with your office on that.
Thank you. Look forward to it.
Councilmember Price.
Thank you, Mr. President. I share similar concerns that my colleagues have raised about specific streets that were supposed to be included or excluded. In my situation, Central Avenue, we want it taken out. And my understanding, it has not been done yet. I'm getting continued reassurances that it will be. How is that going to work?
Right. So I think as we've stated on prior occasions, that all of the network changes that were requested of us did require additional environmental review, and that review is still ongoing, and it'll be in part of the document we take forth to Planning Commission next month.
All right, well, until I see those changes, I'm not prepared to support the plan as it's proposed. I certainly want to continue working with you to ensure that those concerns in the 9th are specifically addressed, and so we'll keep working with you to do that.
Great, we understand that and look forward to working with you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Cedillo.
I share my colleagues' concern for the opportunity to look at the specificity, but I will say to you that I want to thank you. My staff is very pleased with the progress that we've made. The principles of concern for us, the transparency, the civic participation, the prioritization of pedestrian activity have all been woven into this document, in this fabric. And I believe that as the document, as it is stated, without the routes included, is a fine document prepared to move forward and to guide the city. And so I'm prepared to vote for it. I do, like my colleagues, maintain the same concerns, but I also trust and have faith that we will come back now with those fundamentals in place, come back with an opportunity to make sure that the routes manifest and express the aspirations and the desires of the community. So thank you for your hard work, and thank you for the spirit of collaboration with my office.
Thank you.
Councilmember Huizar.
Thank you. And I just want to get an assurance from the Planning Department that, in fact, all the amendments that were raised will be heard at CPC. So whether we agree or disagree with what the CPC votes on, it's going to come back to Council, and then we will have an opportunity to vote on those amendments again. But if the CPC doesn't hear any of the amendments, we're going to come back to the previous problem that we had and the basis for the lawsuit, which was that we amended the plan without the CPC hearing those items. So I just want an assurance that all the amendments raised by council members will be agendized at CPC let it go through the process, and eventually come back to council for our final review, correct? That's
exactly correct, Councilman.
Okay, so,
Thank you.
And my colleagues who have raised concerns about the plan that it does not state the language they would like to see, we're going to have another opportunity when it gets back here to council to then vet what is best for your districts and your input. So we just want to make sure that it goes through that process. We follow the rules and get back those amendments here. The reason we're hearing this again, just to remind us all, is because we made amendments to the plan that required us to send them back to CPC as opposed to us making the final decision. And we're going through that process now, and we'll be back to hear those amendments in the near future, correct?
Correct, except that actually what you're hearing, the document in front of you today does, as Ken Bernstein reiterated, it includes many of those the motions that were acted on last August, as well as a number of additional motions that were introduced in August that we at that point couldn't act on, that we did do additional environmental, and those are all included today. Those are all text-based changes, but again, that address many of the concerns that, again, Councilman Cedillo and Councilman Ryu and others have mentioned over time about collaboration, about equity. All those are really reinforced in this document, as well as, again, the flexibility that we have in implementing the networks going forward. It's really just the specific network segments that were talked about that will be part of the next package.
Okay.
All right. Seeing no other speakers on the queue, we'll go ahead and open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
12 ayes, 2 noes.
All righty. So that is carried and moves forward. Thank you very much. Okay, we've got another one that doesn't actually change the outcome, so we'll go ahead and record Councilmember Price's vote as a no vote on that as well. Okay. Thank you very much. Okay, with that, we'll go ahead and take the next item, please.
That brings us to item 42, called Special for Cards.
All right, John.
John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org, J. Walsh Confidential. This again is shooting of James Gregory Jackson, identification, and a $50,000 reward. And incidentally, as I told you, I'm adding $1 million to it, $1,050,000. And as you know, they can't pay out these rewards except coming through the city council. You'll go back and you'll find that almost none of these rewards are paid out. Practically nothing, because snitches get stitches. The gang will murder you. The gangs who killed this person will murder you if you try to collect a reward. There are hundreds of people who know who murdered this guy, but they're not going to say a damn thing because, look, our gay mayor doesn't run the city. The gangs do.
Wayne.
Now, they go down there, only $50,000 to get a conviction for somebody shot in the ghetto, James Gregory Jackson. How can it only be $50,000 to risk your life and be put in witness protection for a lousy $50,000 fucking dollars for a ward? It got to be more money than that, because I know when you go to the ghetto and you got to find your way through and you done point the finger, snitches do get stitches because they be bitches. And you don't want to get no $50,000 because I know H&R Block H&R Block, and you can blog this award, and it is taxable. So $50,000 after taxes is about $4.49. Now, what can you buy with $4.49? Now, you got to make it more money. Now, we're going to get down there and we're going to get these people caught. You got to get the right of money. $500,000 got to be a minimum settlement, because I know and you can't see my face. We all black here talking today, supporting the Black Lives Matter, but $50,000 done not enough. And it's time that people start paying the right amount of award, because I don't want to get no $50,000 and pay the $49,900 of taxes and then get myself in witness protection. Because if I'm in witness protection with $4.49, I'm going to have to change my name to some Jew motherfucking name, and I don't want to be like that, because I don't want to be no Jew motherfucker.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Walsh, or Wayne, or whatever your name is. Okay, thank you. Juan. With that, we'll go ahead and open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
All right, next item, please.
Mr. President, that brings us to item 15, called Special for Cards.
John?
John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org. This is number 15. And this, again, is an easement. Easements are accommodations to developers. That's what they are. You try to get an easement. You out there, you homeowners, you try to get an easement. You'll spend 8 or 9 or 10 years. Hey, this is one of the least corrupt cities in America, but it's still totally corrupt. That gives you an idea of the other cities, okay? And this is an easement for street purposes on the northeast side. We're going to get rid of all these easements and all these with a initiative that will stop the easements and all this bullshit for the developers of high-rises. HollywoodHighlands.org.
Juan?
I pass. This sucks.
Wayne?
How do you get an easement? Well, there's 2 ways you get an easement in L.A. City. 1, you bribe the building inspector, or 2, you bribe the building inspector. That's the only way you get an easement in Los Angeles. Now, you compare that to Chicago. There's 2 ways you get an easement in Chicago. You go to the mafia, or 2, you do the bribery to the building inspector. So I think that in
You're not on topic. You're not on topic. Just because you mentioned the word doesn't put you on topic.
Talk about this particular easement, I'm getting to it here, is that I think that it's time for all of these people to get the same kind of easement, to make it easy. So you take it easy to get the easement, and you take it easy.
Okay, you're off topic, so that's your final warning. Thank you very much. And with that, we'll go ahead and open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
Thank you. That passes. Next item, please.
That brings us to item 18, called Special for Councilmember Huizar.
Okay, Mr. Huizar.
Thank you, Mr. President and colleagues. Today we hear a piece of policy coming from our Bringing Back Broadway initiative that has been in the making for over 5 years. My staff and I have been working on this very closely with many of the stakeholders in the area. A very dedicated group of people from the downtown community came together in the fall of 2010 to start talking about how to revitalize and reactivate many of the underutilized buildings on Broadway. And that discussion led to the incentives allowed in this sign district. The ordinance allows and encourages the kinds of signs that would have been typically present along Broadway during its heyday: neon lights, blade signs, old-fashioned roof signs. And we purposely did not want to modernize the sign types too much, so that if you look at Broadway in 5 years and blur your eyes a bit, the signs you see could have been there for decades, right along with the architectural gems of buildings that they're on. When we started bringing back Broadway, there was a nearly 20% retail vacancy rate on the ground floor and more than 1 million square feet of space in the upper floors just gathering dust. Now that retail vacancy rate is down to between 12 and 15%, and one by one, the upper floors of those beautiful buildings are being brought back to use, either as adaptive reuse for residential or as creative office space through our commercial reuse policy, or as boutique hotels. We're open to all those uses because the only way to sustain a successful ground floor district is to have activities in the upper floors. I'm very proud of this policy and of everyone who contributed to it. This policy was not easy to develop. It was complicated to get things right. There were lots of long walks up and down the street, measuring, calculating, imagining. Designers and architects got involved to show examples of how things would really look, not just on paper. It was a very collaborative process, and I know it will turn out to be a great success for Broadway. I'm especially pleased that we will all be able to hear this right now, because we are just a few days before the 8th anniversary to kick off our Bringing Back Broadway initiative. And this is another great piece of public policy that is helping us as a city create the public policies that make private investment make sense and that will help create jobs and more retail activity, housing, and bring back our beloved history to this city. I ask for an A vote on this item. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Seeing no other speakers on the queue, we'll go ahead and open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
Right,
Mr. President?
Yes?
Can we send that forthwith, please?
Without
And
objection.
can you put on the record a huge thank you to the Planning Department for helping us draft this?
Huge thank you forthwith.
Thank you.
That'll be the order without objection. Righty. We'll add that one to the council rules as well. Okay, so with that, let's go ahead and take the next item.
That brings us to item number 1, called Special for Cards.
All right, the first one on 1B is Henry Nazarian. How are you?
I spoke with this gentleman, and I guess we're asking for 2 weeks of continuation. I have documentation that we have paid for the initial permit, so I'm just going to go ahead and provide the documentation to him.
Okay, that's fine. Then we'll go ahead and continue for 2 weeks. That'll take you to January 26th.
Beautiful.
Okay.
Thank you.
That's
it.
I'm sorry, that'll take you to February. Yeah, well, that would help. February 3rd.
February 3rd?
That's correct.
Okay. Thank
That's
you.
2 weeks. Right.
Thanks.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. All right, with that, John? Eric? You're up on number 1.
Is there any others in my card? This is my last minute.
This is you're up on number 1.
Are there any other cards?
You're up on number 1, sir. Can you talk, please? Thank you very much. You can pass or speak.
No, I'm going to speak, sir, and
Okay.
I appreciate it. It's
Go
Eric
for it.
Previn from CD2, and no need to clamor for me to come forward, sir. I'm right here.
On the subject, please.
Thank you. Appreciate that. You're disrupting the meeting. Item 1 is once again, sir, we are leaning on the public. That gentleman who was invisible to the viewers at home is in a fake negotiation with the city, where the city is basically just dragging him down here to pay $20 to park, to discuss it, and it's upsetting. It's upsetting because today we had so many items on the agenda. There were like 50 items. I couldn't get at 30 of them, and 7 of them are really interesting. I mean, to the public and to you, presumably, if you had not already previewed them in another setting with Mr. Rue. So I would just simply say I would urge the city to think about doing the liens over at Mr. Cedillo's district office instead of here. It's not appropriate. Thank you.
Wayne?
Now we got liens. Yes, the thievery now begins and ends. That's what they do. They send you liens. How do you get a lien? You get a letter like this. I got that from the Blumenfield master, $660 for something by the Friday. My neighbor pulled the permit on January 6th, but on January 8th, they got to impose a $660 lien after I paid already another $357 inspection. Every single person here has been lynched on this list with bullshit and lies, just like me. All these people are being screwed illegally, screwed by you and your stupid fucking letters. None of these people owe these liens. None of them. You're thieves. Bob Blumenfield is a thief. Fuck him.
Patricia McAllister.
This troubles me that I've counted it up, about 5,000 homeowners, you're denying them their homes by putting these liens on their houses. I say we invite every lien holder, these people with liens, we invite them to come to City Council. We send them emails, letters, texts, we call them. We need to do something about this. Herb Wesson was investigated for corruption, and now he's the president and council. He's doing nothing. Most of these people getting these liens, excuse me, most of the people getting liens are African Americans. These 3 African Americans on this council, including Herb Wesson, doing nothing to help black people stay in their homes. Herb Wesson was investigated for corruption. We need to get these 3 niggas out of
not on subject.
Black men to teach them how to represent black people. And every time I speak, you leave, Herb Wesson. But I'm going to get you off of that podium. You don't belong up there. You blocking speakers.
Now you're clearly off topic, ma'am. Way off topic. You are off topic. Thank you very much. Please have a seat.
The speaker
have a
is
seat.
disrupting
Now you're disrupting the meeting. I've asked you to sit down, ma'am. Thank you very much.
City Attorney.
All right, Juan.
Am I next?
Stay on subject, please.
The subject is you're fucking the people.
Hey, that's not on subject. You're not on subject.
These liens
Stay
are
on subject.
Illegal. These liens are illegal. I know it. Look, 3,300. You are a homeless making institution. You are ripping the hard-earned houses off from people. You put a lien on them and then you go sell them at auction to developers and people like that. You are a corrupt son of a bitch institution.
All right, not on subject. Thank you very much. That's going to be your final warning.
I hope your house is next, you big ear.
All right, thank you very much. All right. With that, we have no other cards. We'll go ahead and open the roll on those remaining items, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
Thank you very much. Next item, please.
Mr. President, that brings council to general public comment.
Kirby Washington. I don't see him. Okay, thank you very much. Lizra Wilburn. No longer here. Michael, carry on. Oh. No.
See if I can get through this without being interrupted. There were 3 people here on time: Mr. Wesson, Mr. Harris Dawson, and Mr. Bonin. The rest of the city council was late. Mr. Englander with the Complejo came in 45 minutes late. And he sits up there like a dictator. Even Hitler was taller than him. People ask me, am I upset with Mr. Weezer? Not upset with him, I like the guy. But I won't take any more BS on the Soto Slope. If this is what it takes to get that done, I will be here until he shits in his pants. But I will continue to come back. And Mr. Englander got off the subject the other day when I was here. I think his feelings were hurt because he has a small man's complex. So, Mr. Englander, if you'd like a pair of high heels, I'll bring them to you next time.
You've been much more professional than this in the past. A whole new low for you, right? Okay, thank you very much. Thanks. Really appreciate it. All right, Jacqueline Richardson. No longer here. Sean Murphy. Oh, Jacqueline? Okay, come on up. Sean, hold on a sec. Jacqueline's here.
Marriage licenses. Some ladies in this city don't realize in order to be married, they need to get a marriage license from the government that it costs $90. They have to have their information on themselves, their future husband, their mother, and their father. Some also don't realize if they have been married to someone in another state, another city, another country, they have to have a legal divorce from those people in order to marry the person they're thinking about marrying. If they have not divorced that person legally, they're still legally married to them, and they can't marry the person they're thinking about because that's bigamy. They also need to know if they want to stop this relationship, they have to get a legal divorce that takes money and time. That's what... I'll have to repeat it another time because it's not really nice, but I'll try to put it in another form, a better form later. A lot of people don't realize that's true.
Thank you very much. Sean?
Yes, my predictions for 2016, Donald Trump will win the presidency. Hillary Clinton, no. She's a liar. She's not honest. The Kingdom Day Parade was fine. Very good. I enjoyed it. We need to fix our sidewalks, get our streets clean. That's what I want for 2016.
Okay, Mr. Walsh. And I guess we could have Miss McAllister walk her way up, and after that, Mr. Spindler. Mr. Walsh, the floor is yours.
John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org. Everybody, take a look at the front page of the LA Daily News, the banner headline. You can see it on the internet. Violent crime up by 50%. Oh, 50%. The city is out of control. Your chances of being killed on the street skyrocketing. And what do these 16 assholes, including the mayor, what are they interested in? Tree removal. I'm telling you, the Olympics, if you come here, you will be murdered. This is the murder capital of the world. Shot to death. Don't come here. Don't give the city of Los Angeles, or I should say Casey Wasserman, $1 billion. Broad is an asshole.
Okay, next.
When you deprive the people, you will have a lot of crime. That's why we have a lot of crime here. Mayor Garcetti, who was a Jew, claimed he spent $100 million on the homeless last year. That nigga is a lie. Where did the $100 million go when you got people laying all over the street, all races, black, white, except for the illegal aliens? They're the only ones with housing, it looks like, and the Jews. What's going on here? We need to get Herb Wesson out of here, Harris Dawson, and Price. We need some black people up in here that will stand up and speak for black people like I do. I'm not getting paid a dime for doing what I'm doing. And another thing, parking. Parking in this city is free on Sundays. Why do the Jews have parking meters on La Brea and Fairfax where their businesses are? Parking is free in this city. The Jews don't own this town. They don't own this nation. Parking is free. I've seen them sneaking, putting tickets on people's cars. They don't even know the meters are on Sunday. Turn those damn meters off and screw the Jews.
I'm not even going to respond. Mr. Spindler, Mr. Previn, Mr. Barajas.
Can the Oscars solve its race problem? No. Boycott the fucking Oscars. Don't give this fucking city any more money. Racist boycott. Because this city is ran by a Jew fucking conundrum of racist assholes that put liens on people's homes for no reason, that chop down their hedges, that go in the back of the meeting room like Koretz does and tries to give you faces. Fuck you in your face. And fuck the Oscars, because the Oscars don't belong here. Send them over to Russia. Don't have them here in Los Angeles, because this city is racist. This is a racist Oscar. You buy a ticket, you're a racist. You watch it, you're a racist. You even fucking take and think about it, you're a racist. No on the Oscars and no on the Olympics. The city's too dangerous and too racist to hold anything. No on the Olympics.
Mr. Previn.
Thank you, Council President Wesson. It is Eric Previn from CD2. Today I have a small compliment for the LAPD, and I noticed Buscaino ran out. Oh, he's back. Good. Anyway, that is this. There was some discussion about whether or not it's appropriate in a law enforcement setting to spark a taser to gain compliance. For example, Mr. Englander was upset that the guy was not moving and to get up to speak at the thing, he'd zap it once, and then the person might comply for fear of being tased. It turns out that that's an old school, kind of like cracking a whip technique that we do not use in modern era, but at LASD, though we did pay lawyers a lot of money to clean up our manual, that little nugget remains. So we are going to take care of that. I'm looking after that over at the county level. But to the credit of LAPD, they understood immediately when I inquired, guys, do you ever spark a taser to gain compliance? They said, no, Mr. Previn. This is a very serious tool. We use it as needed, and only a few people use it because it's sergeant level. It's not a tool we throw around lightly, which is why I wonder, why are we ordering 4,400 new tasers, sir? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Previn. Mr. Barajas. Mr. Marine, Mr. Akala.
All right. I think we seem to arrive at a sort of like a point, either we win or we all die. You've seen some of the chaos presented here by some of the audience. It's pretty chaotic. It's a mind that does not have any type of authority to speak of what to do about mankind as a whole. What they do and what the danger is they start to disintegrate, and they force people to disintegrate with them. The idea, in order to change that, is when members of the audience, and also as a reciprocal or reciprocity principle, it has to show on the other side of the aisle, so-called, they have to join. That is, those who speak the truth. If they do not, you're going to see things become even worse and worse.
Thank you. So, Henry, please, and then Mr. Akala, and then do I have an Ishmael Ariando or Aridando? Mr. Marine.
Yes, California Government Code 20283 shows that it is no longer prudent nor kosher for the educated descendants of Gentiles and Jews to publicly use the fruits of our labor as shown in ongoing MOUs, put your hands on our daily bread as shown on ongoing MOUs, and fail to make contributions to LACES, LACERA, and CalPERS as shown in California Government Code 20283, 20305. Now, the great Mike Fuhrer, he took our money for a long time. Now he's the city attorney, so we can't blame the deputy city attorney for Mike Fuhrer not accounting for our time and money as required by law. And we got all these attorneys here, Mr. Krikorian, and the other one, and Mr. District Counsel 9 with a Juris Doctorate degree, and officers of the court not doing their job.
Thank you, Mr. Marine. So if I could get Mr. Akala, followed by Ishmael Arredondo. Yes, sir.
So we got all these PhDs here that don't really know shit about people, you know, because you have neglected the people, you have driven them homeless, and you discriminate because you got more money than others. That's the biggest discrimination there is, when you have all these high pollutant people in Hollywood and everywhere else with millions of dollars, but you got the 99% of the people just barely able to survive and spending all their lives paying rent. I'm running for U.S. Congress, but what good will that do? There's a whole bunch of other white majority rulers. Donald Trump, put a pickle up your mouth and one up your ass. That's what you need.
Thank you, Mr. Akala. Thank you. If I could get the next speaker, please come forward. Come on. Yes, sir, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Ismael Arredondo from President of Argas Civic Association. This is in regards to the property in 6220 Yaca Street. There are 45 units there. They want to demolish it to build a 35 building floor with 277 units and 68 and one units, one a bedroom and 211 two bedrooms. The situation is the following. In that place live people who are retired, or they are low income, or they are military service. When you relocate them, you give them a chance not to go anywhere but to be homeless, some of them. The people who are in Social Security, they will have no way to be able to approach or to go to another place like where they are right now. I would like you to revisit this situation so you can allow them to come back there. They're going to have plenty of apartments, units there, where they could come back there and live there.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you. That concludes general public comment. What is before this body, Mr. Clerk?
Mr. President, Council has motions for posting and referral.
They are posted. They are referred.
The desk is clear.
Thank you so very much. Announcements? Not seeing any. If everyone in the chambers could rise for adjourning motions. If everyone in the council could please rise for adjourning motions. I will look to my left side and begin with Mr. Bonin.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, I'd like us to adjourn today in the memory of Stephen A. Miller. Stephen was the son of Joel Miller from SOMAS and from our Recode LA project that many of you know. Stephen was born on February 21st, 1982 in Torrance. He was an enthusiastic skateboarder and a fan of hip-hop music. He was an avid movie buff, and he was an expert on American film. In fact, he received a bachelor's degree in digital media arts and television arts from Cal State Dominguez Hills in 2013. He graduated from there with magna cum laude. He died on December 13th, 2015, suddenly. He leaves behind his loving parents, Patricia, and as I said, Joel Miller, his sister, Allison Kozad, his brother-in-law, Adam Kozad, and his niece Sylvie Kozad. May he rest in peace.
Okay, I'm continuing to look on my left. I'm now moving to the right side. Why don't we go with Mr. Koretz, and we'll end it maybe with you, Mr. Huizar.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. President. As I'm sure you've all noticed, we've had a shocking number of people in entertainment that have passed in the last week or so. Among them was a tremendous actor, Alan Rickman, who died at age 69 due to cancer. He was mostly known as a perfect villain, probably the most notable for anybody that watched the Harry Potter series. He was Professor Severus Snape in all 8 of those films. Before that, he was Hans Gruber, the German terrorist who was thwarted by Bruce Willis in Die Hard. In 1991, he won a BAFTA award playing the Heavy, the Sheriff of Nottingham in Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. Even earlier in the 80s with the Royal Shakespeare Company, he played a predatory French aristocrat on stage and won a Tony nomination for that one. The author of the Harry Potter books, J.K. Rowling, has eulogized Rickman as a magnificent actor and a wonderful man. He was a key person in our films and television in recent decades and leaves his wife, Rima, and he will be greatly missed.
Thank you, Mr. Koretz. Mr. Huizar.
Thank you, Mr. President. And colleagues ask that we adjourn today in memory of a well-known, longtime Eagle Rock resident, Jack Tritch, co-owner of the town's landmark Tritch Hardware. Jack attended Eagle Rock High School and in 1944 joined the Navy, where he served as an amphibious landing craft pilot. He was honorably discharged from the Navy in 1946, and while traveling through Wisconsin, met Betty Scanlon. They married when he was 23 and returned to California, eventually settling in Eagle Rock. Jack and Betty had 11 children. Jack worked at Tritch Hardware. In addition to working at the store, he was an active member of the Eagle Rock Lions Club, serving many times as president. Jack was also an usher at Sunday Mass at St. Dominic's Church for many, many years. All of his community service was quiet and unassuming. He lived his life serving the people of Eagle Rock and Northeast Los Angeles and had a reputation of being a fair and honest businessman who always treated his customers with the respect they deserved. Jack is survived by 6 daughters, 4 sons, his second wife, Mary Weber, many grandchildren, and 1 great-granddaughter. Condolences to his family, friends, and legion of colleagues and clients who got to know him at Tritch Hardware in Eagle Rock. He will be missed.
Okay, any more adjourned? Mr. Cedillo?
Yes, colleagues and Mr. President, I won't be joining us on Friday. Unfortunately, I'll be at a funeral for Janet Jimenez. She passed away Sunday from cancer. She was the first of 7 children of the Jimenez family, a very civically engaged family, a family involved in the church, in the community. She was a very robust personality, vibrant, idiosyncratic. She was just one of these Renaissance persons, big personality, a drummer, a musician, a mathematician, spoke several languages, a romantic, and she cancer exploded on her life this summer, at the end of the summer, and she passed this Sunday. She is the aunt to my 2 granddaughters. She is the sister of Angie Marie, who worked here for many years with the mayor. She is my son's sister-in-law. And she passed this Sunday evening. So I ask that we close the memory of her. Blessings to her family.
Okay, it appears to be no more. Oh, one last thing to our longtime colleague of sorts, Harry Edo. We would like to wish you, on a positive note, a happy birthday. With that said, everybody give Harry an applause. Happy birthday, Harry. This council meeting is adjourned.